Hi, welcome to Arabella Month 2. I hope you had fun last month. This month is actually one of my favorite blocks. They did a very similar block, 4 years ago in Botanica Park. And it was one of my favorite blocks then. It is a little involved, so we're going to take some time to go through the components. And then there's actually 2 levels of putting this block together. Okay, so take your time, get all your components together, take a breather, put the center blocks together, take a breather, put the outside blocks together. Okay, we are making 4 of them. The first thing I'm going to tell you, however, is we are going to do the flying geese in the demo 4 at a time. Okay, the flying geese on the general instructions has you cutting the large flying geese squares into quarters and the small flying geese squares into halves and sewing them all individually. I'm going to be demonstrating the 4 at a time flying geese method. Okay, and then there is a tutorial video on that if you want to take a look at that just by itself as a refresher. If not, you are absolutely more than welcome to do your flying geese all cut into sections as well. But I like the 4 at a time method. It's pretty straightforward and you get a pretty good effect. And it does use exactly these measurements of the 5½ large square and the 3 1/8 smaller squares. Okay, so we are going to start with half square triangles. You're making 4 different half square triangles. You are doing half square triangles with fabric 8 and fabric 9. You are doing half square triangles with fabric 5 and fabric 2. And you're making half square triangles with fabric 2 and fabric 9. Okay. The way we do half square triangles: squares on top of each other, mark the center, sew on either side, cut apart. You can square at this point using your 8-inch square tool, where you're taking the diagonal on the 2½ inch piece square, putting that diagonal right on the seam line, and taking 2 sides, and you get a half square triangle when you press that out. Or you can press first and use whatever ruler you use to square that 2½ inch by 2½ inch by putting that middle line there, cutting 2 sides, turning it around, and cutting 2 sides to get little half square triangles. Yay! Okay, so the first 3 sets are going to be half square triangles that we are making 2½ by 2½. The last set is the big ones. They start at 5 1/4, and this is fabric 3 and fabric 7. You're going to construct them the same way. Mark your middle, sew on either side, cut them apart, square into 4½ by 4½, and then you're going to have your large center square, which is here somewhere, because this one has a lot of pieces. There it is. Okay, so you're going to have all your little half square triangles that we are going to use in this piece. Where's the last one? It's here somewhere. We'll find it. Oops. No, they're all attached. We'll find it. It's floating around. Okay, next I'm going to show you the 4 at a time flying geese. You are going to be making flying geese 3 different sets. This is flying geese set A with fabric 2 and fabric 3. Flying geese set B with fabric 5 and fabric 9, and flying geese set C with fabric 9 and fabric 8. Okay, so you're going to start with your 5.5-inch squares. You're going to lay your smaller squares on top, mark the center, sew on either side, and then you're going to cut it apart. You're going to press these down. Press, 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 press. You're going to put your additional squares on. You're going to mark the center, sew on either side, and when you cut it apart, you're going to end up with flying geese. You should have 8 of each. Okay, and you're going to trim these to 2.5 by 4.5. Okay, let's get to our block. Okay, so the first center part of your block is built. Now what's fun about this is you're going to have a dark side of the block and a light side of the block. So when you get your components organized, okay, you're going to know that all your light components are going to go to the light side, all the darker components to the dark side. So we're going to start with our number 3 and number 2 flying goose on one side, and then you're going to have your number 9 and number 5 flying goose on the other. Again, that matches the light. This is going to the dark. You are then going to put that on the top side, and where'd the other one go? I swear, these things are here and then they're gone, and it's like a miracle when I can find them again. Because why would everything be organized? There it is. Here. Now, let's see. This goes in this corner. This goes in that corner. So you're going to watch this diagonal form. This goes in this corner. See how that light and dark is forming? And goes into this corner. The solid brown. Okay, so you're going to construct this like a 9-patch. Okay, you're going to sew these to the bottom. You're going to sew the flying geese to the sides. You're going to sew your half square triangle, your goose, and your solid. And then you're going to sew all 3 pieces together. And like I said, you're going to be watching this diagonal that it keeps bisecting the light and the dark. Okay? If you get here, awesome. Take a breather. Okay, remember, we're doing 4 of these. Take a breather. You can come back in a day or 2 because this was a lot. Okay? So, when we come back, we're going to have, ta-da, our block. Now, we have got our other flying geese and our other half square triangles. Okay? So we're going to start by taking a flying goose and our green and red half square triangles, and we're going to sew a goose to 2 half square triangles. Okay. We are going to make 4 of these. Then you're going to, 8 of them. 8 of them. And to 4 of them, you're going to add a square and a half square triangle. I should make them all face the same direction. Okay, so you have 8. You're going to leave 4 like this and make 4 like this. The other side is really easy. You have a 2.5-inch strip of fabric number 1, and on that 2.5-inch strip, you're going to have 8 of these to start with. And then you are going to take 4 of them, leave them this way, take 4 of them and add a 2.5-inch square and then a 2.5-inch half square triangle on the other end. Okay, so you'll have 4 each. you'll have 4 centers, and we're going to put this together just like the last one. We have our center. We're going to put our light here. We're going to put our dark here. We are going to put, wait, did I do this wrong? Man, okay. I know my dark goes there. Nope, that's not right. Man, how did I do this? Because, oh, did I do it this way? There we go. Ta-da! Did you see that? Did you see that? So when you get all your components together, you're going to put the 2 short ends to the middle. You're going to have your long strips, put them on the sides, and you get to see where that diagonal shows up. Again, keeping the light separate from the dark. And take your time, lay it out, and you'll get there. We're making 4 of these. This is what I call the light and dark block, dark light star. Whew, we made it through. We'll see you next month.